All right, guys. Welcome to episode 58 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Crazy night. We have another great show planned for today. This is a big one. We are helping announce a new product that's going to be for the car community that's out there. I can't wait for you guys to see this. We have the builder of that on tonight. We're going to cover we're going to cover one event standings, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff. And we have two Drag and Drive guests on tonight, Dustyn Caudle and Joey Grier. I'm excited about this. Eric, if you'll hit that intro video, man, let's get this thing kicked off.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, welcome to the Drag Driver Pete Show. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this episode and the Drag Driver Pete News, which happens live on Saturday mornings. And I'm the promoter for the Circuit Drag and Drive, which happens April 19th through 21st. Mocan Dragway, Ozark Raceway Park. Man, crazy coming up. I'm excited about this event. It's going to be nuts. My co-host, Mr. Right here, Mr. Eric White. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White. I co-host both the news and the show. Do a little bit of graphic design for Drag Drive Repeat, for my own stuff, for other events. Anybody that needs help, I've been helping out quite a bit with that kind of stuff. And then I do some stuff on my channel, which is 815 LSX Swaps.
Yeah, dude, you've been a busy guy. Well, let's get into this thing, guys. Of course, we need you to do us a favor. Hit that share button as we jump in here. Huge show tonight. If you didn't catch the intro there, it's going to be a good one. But we can't do this without you guys. So we just want to say thank you for being our race car friend. Thank you for being here. I'm telling you, the late nights make all of it worth it with the comments and things like that we're going to go over in some of this. If you are here live with us, there's a chat box right over on the side. Make sure when we have the guests up, you're asking them questions. And then also, if you have some questions about the stuff we're going over, make sure you ask that in the chat. We're gonna grab those as we can. And Eric White, Mr. Co-host right down here, Mr. RHM right hand man, is going to be putting those comments up on the screen throughout the episode tonight. So again, share and comment, please. We appreciate that. And then, guys, we can't do it without our sponsors. They make all the travel and everything possible. So I want to say thanks to Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, dude, all kinds of powertrain stuff we got going on there. And of course, Sweet Patina, because you got to keep your stuff looking great. Racing Junk Classifieds if you need new stuff. And then our newest media partner, PowerTube TV. Awesome dudes over there and a lot of fun stuff that's coming up. All right. Summit Racing, if you guys didn't know, obviously, big part of our program here, but they have been a part of everybody's program since 1968. Once started as a one-man operation. Now it's the World Speed Shop, 4 facilities, 200 plus catalog editions. We can probably put 225. I got one in the mail the other day. Fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. In 2014, they launched a Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, but you can also find them on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like you're listening to now. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Well, I don't have any cool artwork for this one but I was digging around on, of course, the Facebook of Summit Racing, right? You get that update every day. They're posting 2 or 3 times a day. I saw a really good question. It was like, how far have you traveled for an event? So, of course, we kind of snuck that in. And changed it and shared it over onto the Drag Drive Repeat Facebook page and asked how far you had driven for a drag and drive, obviously, because that's what we're worried about. Dustyn Caudle, right off the bat, dude, this is pretty intense. So he drove 1,300 miles to Sick Week, 1,300 miles to Death Week in a different direction. Or sorry, 1,300 miles to Sick Week, 1,100 miles to Death Week, and 1,100 miles to King of the Open Road, Tucson, Arizona. What's cool about the Death Week to King of the Open Road is those were like 2 weeks apart. So he drove all the way home and then all the way back.
Yeah.
Absolutely intense. And he's one of the guys that won the ambassador of Drag and Drive at the first ever Drag and Drive award show that we hosted last year. So he won that one because of those trips, part of 8 trips he took for drag and drive events last year. And we're going to actually talk to him here in just a little bit about all those events. And then Rich Woodward answered to that question, 1,200 miles with a question mark to Drag Week 2021. And then Fred Sermon drove from Charleston, I'm assuming South Carolina, to Tucson, Arizona for Drag Weekend 2015, which was like the first regional event that I think happened in all of this, that, and one guy's garage the same year. He said he came in not the slowest, in air quotes, hurt the clutch, and drove home with 15 minutes to spare to go to work. That's my kind of dude.
Nice.
That's my kind of dude. Well, one other post they had was what's a bucket list track, and of course I'm skimming down through the several hundred answers, and Facebook shows me Mr. Jeff Sixt, who is a drag and drive veteran with us. He's been on several hot rod drag weeks. He said George Ray's Wildcat drag strip in Paragould, Arkansas. And I don't know if you know this, but I grew up about 20 or 30 minutes from that track.
Nice.
Yeah, thought I would give a big shout out to Jeff there. He's one of the nicest dudes that's out there. Oh, hey, Connor Skinner, Mr. 417 Coffee and Cars. We're going to be talking about that here in about 3 minutes, right after we talk about the Driven Racing Oil event updates. That's the first thing we're going to talk about is my trip and Eric's trips this weekend. So if you'll read us the Driven Racing Oil ad read, I'll jump into some of the stuff.
Perfect. Why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from Driven Racing Oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world. Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which comprise their GP1 line. Then, Driven boosts that superior base with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can even shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro-based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Driven Racing Oil or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
Man, great job on that, dude. That's awesome. I think we're getting better at reading these. We do these every week. Now, here's the cool thing about the weekend. I had not intended to run all over the country, but that's kind of what happened. So, Connor was talking about the 417 Coffee and Cars. So I ran up there. That is in Springfield, Missouri, which is a little more than 100 miles from me here. Okay, this is a key point here in a minute. So drove up there. Obviously, he was nice enough to let me set up a table at the literal last minute. I actually got there, walked around, took the pictures that you guys are going to see here, and then set the table up. So it was great. Handed out flyers, talked to people about the circuit because we were racing in Springfield. What will be the 20th. So I wanted to go up there and kind of talk about it. Well, when Connor had said that there were going to be, I said, how many cars am I expecting? Because the Cars and Coffees here in Northwest Arkansas, 300 to 500 cars is a huge event for us, right? He said 850. And I was like, 850 cars. And guys, I'm telling you, it's worth the trip.
Yeah.
No matter where you're at, if you are going to be anywhere in Springfield, Missouri area, the first Saturday of each month, you from April to October, you've got to find the 417 Coffee and Cars. It was absolutely nuts. Cars like Randy Collins here, who, after talking to him for a little bit, this 1,000 horsepower turbo 57 here, he's thinking he's probably going to come on over to the circuit.
Really?
Yeah. So of course, I had to put my selling shoes on and out there hustling a little bit, trying to get us just a few more people, mainly as spectators. But I don't know if you know this or not. Drag racers are not good spectators who want to race. So I told him if he showed up in the car, I'd let him run. I mean, you can't turn that car away, right?
Yeah.
So another circuit veteran alumni here, or a circuit veteran alumni, Mr. Jeff Merrick, got to hang out with him for a little bit. That was kind of fun. This is his Grand National. He's coming back for 2024 for the circuit. So he was pumped that I was up there. And then I got to see my buddy Fro, who's going to be I'm just gonna say he's gonna be a backup girl for donations on Sunday for like a 2-hour window. He's gonna offer that service up so we can get that last push of donations. So if you want your car backed up by a dude named Fro that looks like a gorilla, we'll be talking about it in a future episode, probably next week. So, and then this car here had my attention the entire time. Loved the
Yeah.
patina on this thing. Loved the turbos up and out of no hood. And then this guy did an insane burnout as he pulled out on the street, kind of got up on the brake a little bit and just annihilated a set of tires as he went off. It was pretty awesome. If you want to see that video, you can go over to the Instagram page that's posted there. It has almost 700,000 views
Wow.
since Sunday afternoon. Pretty intense. A lot of conversation in there. A lot of people saying it wasn't a big enough burnout. But guys, leaving cars and coffee is always a big deal. People want to do burnouts, right? I'm telling you right now, this place was dangerous. It was curbed both sides of the 2 lane that you're going down. It's like a divided highway, and people lined up standing on the curb on both sides. So anybody get out of whack just a little bit, they're taking somebody out. So he was trying to be a little, conservative, I'm sure, because this car looks like it could actually destroy the tires. So that was 110-ish miles from the house. I headed 70 miles along our route from Springfield over to Mocan. So one last opportunity to cruise the route, make sure all the roads look good, all the route stops are in good shape, all that kind of stuff, and hit Mocan for a bracket day. So grabbed a couple shots here, and then this here Mike Whelan, got to hang out with him and James Lowry, who are also circuit veterans and drag and drive veterans, but they're circuit veterans and they're coming back. So they were there making test passes and running. James didn't have his car, but Mike had his. And dude, that Pro Charger on the front of that thing,
Yeah.
primo stuff, man. Primo stuff. It just was awesome. I didn't get a video of it running down the track, but I got a couple videos of it like backing out of the spot and driving away and all that kind of stuff. So really cool. Had a great Saturday. And then I think, did you go Saturday or Sunday?
I went to Cars and Coffee Saturday morning as well.
Perfect. All right, so let's move on to those shots because now I want to show you guys the difference here. Okay, look how cool this shot is. Look at this shot.
Hey,
Awesome. Mediocrity.
hey, they all look good after they get edited. So
I know that's right. That's right. Well, I want to say Eric edited all the photos that you saw before that, and he edited these photos. But he shot these that he's going to go over now. I think there's like 5 in here from your weekend with a new camera that he bought. So
yep,
tell us about your trip, man.
I bought a Sony A6400 camera. Hadn't even thought about doing anything with it. I was originally just going to take it to the circuit, get started then. But then you had mentioned going to Cars and Coffee, and then that made me remember that our Cars and Coffee was the same day. So I was like, well, this should be perfect. We can both go. I mean, we're what, 500 miles apart, I think, both attending
Yeah.
a Cars and Coffee. I think ours was probably about 400 cars, so a little
That's
bit
awesome.
smaller. But it's a pretty big area. So this is our downtown area. They kind of come down this way, they wrap around the corner, and then there's like a couple parking lots full of cars. So this
Sweet.
was kind of where you come in. So there's a bunch of, Camaros and Challengers and Mustangs down this row. This one obviously was parked right out on the corner. This one was pretty good looking. I mean, anytime you can get up close to a Lambo and get some pictures of it, you
Yeah.
got to do that. So that was nice. This old Mustang, that was another good looking car. I liked that there was a variety of cars at this one.
Mm-hmm.
Around here, there's a lot more of the modern muscle cars. So your Camaros, Corvettes, Chargers, Challengers, stuff like that. So, but it was cool being that it was opening weekend. A lot of people brought their stuff out. Weather was nice, which again, for around here, that's important because
Yeah.
it'll snow one morning and be 60 by the afternoon. So,
Yeah. I'm out. I don't want to live in places like that.
and then this car, I've ran into this guy at multiple different events. He's came over and talked to me a bunch, talked LS stuff. So, this thing is super, super clean.
You can tell just by the reflection of the pants leg in the side of that car how nice
Yeah,
that car is.
yeah, yep. Super, super clean car. And then this is another one that's always at car shows. So we have a guy that posts up car show schedules for every week, and pretty much any given day during the summer, there's a car show, within 15 minutes
Hmm.
of me. And I
Wow.
swear I see this one every time. And I didn't get a good picture of the back of it, but those tires are so wide that that rear end has to be nothing but a center section.
Right. It's like he's got an inch of clearance on each side of the drive shaft to come through the tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's wicked. I mean, it's
Yeah.
got a surge to it. It's loud. I've never seen it like at our track or anything at Byron, but it's always at the car shows and always gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. How much fun would that be?
And I'm
Dude,
sure
that,
it's a ton of fun, but
oh,
I'm sure it could get wild pretty quick, as little as
well,
that is.
I was going to say it's very short, which is fun, but then it's also very narrow. So
Yeah.
you get out of whack at all. It's just like,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah. So I see Twisted Angle Garage here. Got to talk to him for a while. Got some good shots of his car. Nothing spectacular like what you've done here, but super cool burnout car. I'm talking like LS with the manifold just flip forward and up, propane injected, so it shoots like a 10-foot flame out of the pipes. It's really cool. So there's some shots in the folder on the Facebook page that you guys can go see that car. And then apparently he just destroys tires with skids for kids with that car, and we've had those guys on in the past. So
Yep.
pretty awesome.
And then another comment here I had earlier. Fred Cullen might make an appearance. I'm assuming at the circuit here.
Sweet, bring it on. I love Fred. He always has fun cars, and he's a hilarious fun dude. Alrighty, and then so that was all Saturday. So we were conquering the world on Saturday. It was about a 300-mile round trip for me. It was 11,000 steps, and I took almost 300 pictures, and I don't know how many videos, probably 50 or 60 videos.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it is a lot. Well, Sunday is the Cars and Coffee here in Northwest Arkansas. So we have two actually for the last time for April. So I ran down. This car was the first thing I saw, and this is at like 8:15 in the morning. It's a 331-inch Hemi that the guy has literally had for 16 years. This was the longest he had driven it, and it was 4 miles.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So super cool car. I literally just getting it all together. Like they've moved, and all the stories of what happens. You end up, oh man, the transmission broke the first time they drove it, and it was parked and rebuilt a ton of stuff and everything like that. So really, really cool there. And then this car actually belongs, and in this photo, it's got a really weird tint to the rear half of the car that's not like that in real life. I don't know why it looks like that, but this gentleman, if you guys will remember, we had a big block Ford powered orange Ford Ranger a few years ago at the circuit. This was his. So I'm
Hmm.
walking around, I'm passing out flyers for the circuit, and he's like, I did this race. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I had a Ford Ranger. I'm like, the orange Ford Ranger? And so we had a great conversation. This car here is what him and his wife called their driver. It's literally Chevrolet Caprice, all underneath, engine, drivetrain, air conditioning, everything. And they built this entire car in their garage. So it's all the paint, all the interior, everything is done. He said this is a car that he can get in and drive anywhere in the country, doesn't matter at any time. And that's what he wanted to build with it. So thought that was
That's
super
awesome.
cool. And to see another, circuit veteran that was there maybe back, I think it was like 2021. I think we had 40 cars in 2021. So yeah, super cool there. And then, of course, we have a secondary one that is in town called Blacktop Promotions or something like that, Blacktop Sunday or something. And Steven hit that one. So, of course, I had to get a shot of Steven in the car and got a really good roller or I'm not going to say a race, but him and a 17 or 18 Mustang GT left the stoplight together in a rapid speed, and you could see the Mustang was like rolling into it and then really had to get into it. So that's also something you see on Instagram. Pretty good run there. And I'm sure that dude left and went home and tried to figure out what that car was, because Steven, I mean, neither one of them ran off from each other, and it was just from a stoplight. So the road was cold, no prep or anything like that. It was just fun, but you can see that on the Instagram. It was pretty good time there. There was about, I would say probably total, we had 500 cars between the two events. Now, the Cruising the Ozarks team is moving their event from the first Sunday of the month to the last Sunday of each month. So finally, we're going to have an opportunity to have two different cars and coffees as we move throughout the year. And then I saw this. I think I need this.
Yeah.
So I went home, and of course, I've been looking at step vans ever since. The problem is, I really want this, like this style right here, right? This is
Yeah.
a shorty one. This is very, very hard to find. You can find all the FedEx trucks you want, but I don't want one that big. I want one like this. And the whole
Right.
back was all put together. It was really cool. It was built for like motorcycles. So they
Mm,
have these two mounting points up front, and it was just all decked up. Super cool. And then this car here is a little kit car based off of Volkswagen Beetle. The gentleman that drives this car is, I mean, you can see it's waist high on that adult man standing next to it, right? This dude is at least 6'3" that drives this
really?
car. I told my brother, I said, this guy, when he gets out, he just keeps standing up. Like it just for it looks hilarious. But this is one of several Beetle based vehicles he has. He actually has a 9-second Volkswagen Beetle that he
Wow.
he used to race back in the 90s. So he still has that car. He just doesn't bring it out as much because this one runs and is so much more fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've
So
been looking at those different kit cars a lot lately, the Factory
mhm.
5 stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely think those are kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And then the last bit of event update here, guys. This is breaking news, or I guess not the last bit of this is breaking news right here. Posted about 30 minutes ago now. The Taylors are engaged. Her
That's
post was
awesome.
hilarious. It says I can't
Got
remember.
some new bling or something.
Yeah, got some new bling, who this, and then still a Taylor. So thought that was pretty funny. So congratulations to Nick and Alex. That's pretty awesome. That's a power couple in the making for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about events real quick, because that's what this whole segment was about events. Carolina Drag Cruise. Do you want to run us through some of these the names? I saw you put in the stats there for their wins as well.
Yep. So first of all, congrats to all the winners from Carolina Drag Cruise. The DYO class, the Dial Your Own, that was won by Scott Olson in an 81 Chevy truck with a deviation of .001.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
insane.
Yep. Then next we had Real Street, which was won by Darren Free in a 72 Camaro with a 7.394 average. We had Modern Muscle. Winner was Dustyn Trance in a
That's
2018 F-150.
that's the Dustyn Trance.
Yes. Yep. Not in the Mustang,
Yep.
but 2018 F-150 with a 6.935 average.
Pretty awesome.
Then we had Stick Shift, which was Rob Warwick in a 95 Camaro, and that was a 6.246 average. Then we got Limited Street, Scott McGee in a 63 Nova with a 5.432 average. And then Unlimited Street, Chris Engel in a 65 Nova with a 5.400 average. And then the reaction time went to Jay Bradley in a 91 Camaro with a .1035 reaction time average.
That's awesome.
And then the last one is the Spirit of Drag Cruise that was given to Cole Galloway in an 86 Mustang. I didn't get any more information kind of on the story on why he was chose, but
Yeah. Well, I think what we may do is an actual, like, maybe we have all the promoters from events in April on for the last week. Maybe that's
yeah,
what we do for that month. Well, Road Trip Drag Challenge also concluded this last weekend, but I got the stats about an hour and a half ago, something like that, maybe 2
Yeah.
hours ago now, and I just didn't have time to get them ready for the show. So we're going to go to a deep dive on them on Saturday. And by then, we'll have the story from Michael Lone of the Carolina Drag Cruise, why Cole Galloway won that one.
Yep.
All right. And then, of course, I ordered a ton of stuff for the live stream yesterday, day before yesterday, for the circuit. And I want to say just a big shout out to On the Spot Auto Repair for bringing that ability to folks at home to be able to watch it. And essentially, Danny Diesel is going to let us borrow some cameras. So we're going to be able to like triple our camera count. So we're going to go from 1 to 3
Yeah.
for the live stream. So it's going to be awesome. I really appreciate him doing that. I'm really excited about this. So, sometime this weekend, there's going to be a live stream that I'll be in my yard running across these different camera stuff. So you guys will be able to see that if you're paying attention to the circuit at all. I'll probably just do it on one channel, and who knows when it'll be because I'll have everything here on Friday. So we'll probably do that Saturday or Sunday. So again, I'm really pumped about this to give everybody at home an opportunity because the plan is to while we're showing racing, obviously. We're also going to have like Eric will be able to leave early and then he'll be able to patch in from one of the route stops and go around and talk to people and tell stories and stuff like that. And you guys know that I don't want folks to watch an empty track. So if things are down for a little bit, we'll just be grabbing people from the pits and doing interviews there down by the track and talking to all these folks and everything like that. So bear with us. If you're going to be at home watching this, please hang tight. This is going to be our first opportunity to do this. So Friday may be a little, it's going to take us a little bit to get our bearings. By Saturday and Sunday, we should be pretty good there. So
Yep.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
should be fun. And that's gonna
Oh,
help out, with a bunch of stuff too going forward.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I'm most excited about too. It's going to give us a lot of opportunity to maybe live stream some other stuff that we didn't do or get a lot of different angles on things,
Yeah.
at events and things like that. Yeah,
Live
live stream
stream
the
cart
cart donut.
donuts.
Hey, listen, I'm in. I got to put a transmission in, but we got to get through the circuit first. All righty.
Oh,
Howard Cam's
I
community.
was thinking the go-karts at the
Oh,
go-kart
ooh.
night, but I wasn't thinking about your cart. I forgot about that.
Man, I didn't even think about live streaming the go kart stuff. Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing that for sure. We're gonna get some mounts for the phones and put them on the go karts. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time. We're gonna do that for sure. Alrighty, let's move on to the next segment because guys, we got guests that are in the back, and this is when we're gonna break out and show you guys the brand new product that's going to be welcomed to the car community. So I'll read the ad here real quick. Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Geez, that's a long time ago. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs. Today, they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. And guys, you got to hit up our boy Luke B for your next valve train upgrade. If you don't know who Luke B is, friend him on Facebook or come to us. We'll get you in contact with him. All right, dude. Huge week and stuff. Huge week and stuff.
Yeah. There was a lot of news. Some good, some bad.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Jeremy Howell with the Flat Fox, which is a flat plane cranked 5.2 liter. I don't know if it's Coyote. I don't know. It's a mod motor of Ford of some kind. Somebody correct me. Dude went 200 miles an hour,
Yeah.
731 at 203 miles an hour, or something like that. Absolutely insane.
Yep. That's
Insane.
awesome.
Oh man, and I'm excited for that. That is also a stick shift car.
Yep.
This could truly reset all kinds of records if he can get through a week of drag drive. Man, it's gonna be nuts. But when you're running on that ragged edge of the thing, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
This is wild.
Are you under a rock if you hadn't seen this, dude? Tell me
Right.
what happened with Brett.
Yeah. It's been everywhere. But yes, incredible. Ran a 3.998.
Yeah, in the car that he won sick week with.
Right. Right. A streetcar.
Yeah, I don't know what changes they've made, but $399 with the 8, insane on a small tire in a streetcar, headlights, taillights, blinkers, pulls a trailer. I mean, dude, this thing is
Yep.
for real. So
Yep.
him going to
187.
motion got him there.
Yeah. What does it say? 187.99 for miles an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
In
crazy.
the eighth, 187.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's Pro Mods 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
So it's
Absolutely nuts.
exciting. It's exciting to see what he's going to be able to do
Yep,
going forward because obviously he's breaking a lot of I don't know if I want to say records, but
yeah,
he's moving forward in the drag and drive and the streetcar stuff very
yep,
quickly, and it's going to be exciting to see what comes of all that, especially with him working at Motion and all that
yeah.
stuff.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, congratulations to him and the team. That's absolutely wild, man. I love to see that, and I love to see where that's going to take us in Drag and Drive. And then one of the saddest stories that's out there right now, dude. I mean, freaking heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Calvin Nelson had the car, truck, and trailer stolen. And guys, this Studebaker has been. They've had this car for a long, long time. Like
Yeah.
this is the test bed for a ton of their, you know, mental engineering stuff that they have coming up. So this is really, really sad. Again, if you're not friends with Calvin Nelson, you need to be, or follow Nivlak 57 on all social media, but really on Facebook and YouTube. They've got all kinds of stories out right now. Please share that. Please get this stuff back for him. It's crazy, man. It said it was just they were in Georgia, come out the next morning, it's gone. Nuts. So
Yeah. Yeah. That
yep,
sucks when that happens. Hopefully,
yeah,
I mean, hopefully it comes back. Hopefully they can find it.
yeah.
But man, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Yep. Yeah, I can't imagine at all. Um, Next up, Rich Guido. Dude, him and his brother are driving to Texas, not for a drag and drive, for Small
Yep.
Tire Gangsters put on by Tom Gunner.
Yep. Somebody commented earlier on their way to Yellow Belly racing this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be pretty wild. That is a man. I can't wait to hear his experience at Yellow Belly.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
remember seeing the
nuts.
pictures when you went.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and good luck to Rich. We would love for some drag and drive folks to bring home some trophies, and again, just a really cool trip for them to be able to run, all the way back down there. I can't remember what it said, but it was like a day and 12 hours or something like that that it said that the travel was going to be.
Yeah.
And then we're going to dig a little deep here. Our boy Cooper Bogetti, he Mr. 100 last year. As we went through, after sick week, he was on the show. It was cool. I've been listening to his podcast since then. He had the guy from Tile Wastegates, TIAL Wastegates on, and it's a great conversation. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. You guys got to watch it. But one thing that they get really deep on some fuel alternatives. So because they're talking about EV and all that kind of stuff, and Cooper's one of the most outspoken guys for the RPM Act. Like he for streetcar stuff. I don't think he believes in the RPM Act is good for us as car guys. Which listening to him, I think he's probably right. Like the RPM Act it doesn't do anything for street cars. It literally doesn't say anything about street cars in there. It just talks about keeping cars able to do that. So
Hmm.
pretty interesting side there. But anyways, they were talking about fuel alternatives, and of course they went down hydrogen, they went down all that kind of stuff. But essentially the tile guy says that methanol is the way to go.
Yeah.
Of course, we all know what the fastest cars typically in drag and drive run methanol. So essentially, he was talking. He said this is the easiest way to do it. He's like, methanol is a single molecule fuel. You can transport it in liquid form, so you're not going to alter the logistics side of stuff. People could literally pump that in from a pump at the gas station, and you'll make more power. So it kind of got my brain thinking, obviously what would a methanol swap cost? Could you get some late model stuff that would be methanol compatible? So kind of a neat thought. Listening to that guy, it really makes you wonder why we're still so dependent on gasoline. Why have there not been other fuels developed that are reasonable, because he was talking about how hard hydrogen is to even just convert a car to that. And, he's like, literally methanol you can pump in. So really good conversation there. It starts at about the hour and a half mark. If you want to go deep, that's the one to go to. Okay, I'm telling you, it went deep. I had to listen to it twice just to catch all that stuff. But really cool stuff. Cooper's doing a great job on that. I actually sent him an email after that. I was like, dude, you blew my mind. Blew my
Yeah.
mind with that episode. So make sure you're doing that. And then I don't have a go ahead.
Yeah, before you go on, I was gonna say the other thing with Cooper is not good news. You see that he crashed his car too.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty sad. Yep.
but
End up coming across the lane and then dinging the front.
yeah, but luckily it didn't look like it was too bad. So
Yeah.
obviously nobody's hurt, so that's always a plus. And I'm sure he'll get it fixed up and going again. But always sucks to see that.
Yep. And then the last little part here, and then we're going to bring Jay on. I was talking to Harris from the Monoxide podcast. Remember, we were up there and recorded with him at PRI, and he interviews a lot of rally drivers, not like rally cross, but like gumball rally drivers.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, man, if I can find you some people, he lives in Minneapolis. I said, if I can find you some drag and drive guys, would you be willing to interview them? He has a place where he does all the recording, all that kind of stuff. And he said, I'm in. Please find us some folks. So if you would like to tell your story and you are anywhere near Minneapolis, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to connect you guys. Let's get some drag race guys on his podcast and introduce those folks to the drag and drive community. I was actually talking, him and Dan may come down to Six Summer on that Sunday and Monday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm really trying, man. We're trying, we're spreading the word. We're trying to get more people the opportunity to tell more stories.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do another quick recording with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, you on Sunday, Monday, you guys will. I won't be there. I won't be there yet.
Oh, that's true.
Yep. All right. Well, let's bring on Mr. Jay Blanchard of J-Wire Solutions, and let's talk about this exclusive announcement tonight. I'm not going to say exclusive. This is a world premiere announcement. This is exciting.
There you go.
All right. Mr. Jay Blanchard, how are you this evening, sir?
Oh, doing pretty good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. I just took you off the screen. Hang on just a second. There we go. We're going to put you back. Okay. Can I put him full screen with that? Dang. Nope. I was trying, man. I want it to look cool, man. It doesn't look cool when it's small like this. Well, hey, here's the deal. Jay is on tonight because we have some breaking stuff here. Jay, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are and what you typically do, and then we're going to get into this thing.
Well, you might catch me looking off screen a couple times because I have my notes down over here. Yep. But I own J-Wire Solutions. We're based near Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we do a lot of wiring of cars. We do a little bit of performance, I'll say plumbing, fuel systems, and oiling systems. And then we help out a little bit with some track tuning. And then I co-drive Brian Acton's Nova and a lot of drag and drive events over the course of the summer.
Yeah, lots of those. Well, lay us into kind of what this part. Can I show a picture of it yet? Like, well, tell us how this part came about, and then we'll open up the picture of it. Hold on. All right. Show us one more time there, bud. Sorry. Oh yeah, there you go. All right, so tell us how this thing came about, and then we'll get it. Yeah, then we'll get into what it is.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, we do a lot of wiring. We do a lot of, I'll say, muscle car era LS swaps, turbo stuff, that kind of deal. A lot of drag and drive cars, a lot of purpose-built drag cars. And one of the issues you have when you're wiring a car, when you're getting all the wiring out of it and you're going to a lightweight steering column, is there's some amazing things the stock steering column does. And I use the term amazing for a wiring guy. They're like, oh, it's 4 or 5 relays and it's a diode here and whatnot to get it all to work. But we stumbled into this situation where I thought, man, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have problems getting their turn signals and their brake lights to work properly in some certain, I'll say, GM applications.
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with a solution. Ironic, it's in our name. What we came up with is a blinker priority module. And what makes this really unique is a very common part that a lot of people are buying is the Motion Raceworks turn signal switch, which is a great piece. However, what happens is it doesn't integrate well with your brake lights. And that's where these two pieces work hand in hand.
Nice. So what's the benefit to that? Tell us what that means.
So what happens is, let's use Brian's Nova as an example. If you turn on the brake lights with a lightweight column, and if you were to wire this switch up directly with a lightweight column, in Brian's application, you turn on the turn signal and everything looks great. And then as soon as you step on the brake lights effectively will override the turn signal, and all you'll see is a brake light. So if you're working on your car over the weekend, and you think you got everything wired up good, and you check the front turn signal, and yep, it looks great, and you go to check the rear turn signal, and all of a sudden you're like, yep, it looks great. You're not necessarily behind your car when you're stepping on the brakes, and a drag and drive car, and you're going down the road, and all of a sudden I've got brake lights, and you go to make a left turn, someone might be trying to pass you or something like that, and you run the risk of getting in an accident. I mean, that's obviously on the traffic end of things, but those are real situations that occur out on the road.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in the conversation we had, that was one reason why I don't have my blinkers hooked up on the old truck, because I couldn't figure out why they weren't working. So pretty cool. So you have, looking at these pictures here, dude, this looks really easy to wire up.
Yeah. So a couple of the pictures don't have some of the finished parts in them. You'll see like a blue 3D printed piece. We've got parts out to the anodizer right now. And kind of as our format will go here, we'll kind of get into the availability, pricing, all that type of stuff. But what happens is on one end, well, I kind of actually forgot about one of the functions as it relates to drag and drive as well. So one of the things that drag and drive cars need to have is a horn. So in a lightweight steering application, you lose the clock spring, you lose the horn functionality. So this blue bracket, which will be anodized black, parts of the anodizer right now, this piece, and I'm hoping that you can see it up on screen. Maybe if you can flip over to me. This bracket sits directly below the turn signal switch itself. And so what happens is you get this turn signal switch that's already pre-wired, and then you get 3 wires coming out of this end of the loom here. These will have ring terminals on them, all set and ready to go to the Motion Raceworks switch. You get the module box here. And then on the opposite end, you get the GM wiring colors that would go into your steering column connector. Of course, because we've done our research and figured out this platform and these platforms, there are 2 different turn signal switch connectors that are used predominantly with GM. There's a P style and an F style, and one of them is 3 7/8 inches long, and the other one is 4 1/8 inch long. So what we've opted to do is we're going to pre-terminate these terminals for you, and then we're going to give you both connectors, and then all you need to do is insert those and snap them into the connector, color for color, and you're set up and ready to rock and roll.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. And in our conversations, I told you I'm going to be one of the first folks to order this.
Because you're running the podcast right now, so unless you got you won't be able to. But
right. So talk us through price point, and then let's talk about the group buy on this deal, or the early purchase.
Sure. So what we've done, let me scroll through some of my notes here real quick. So the price point for retail is $140. It's amazing. You start debating about, well, it should be $139.99, and what's the difference between 40? And so it's $140. And what we're doing for the group buy is we're going to offer them for $15 off, so it'll be $125, and that's with a discount code that's limited to the first 20 orders on my Facebook or on my Shopify page, jwiresolutions.com.
Yeah, you guys better save me one.
So I'm not sure.
Not you, everybody that's out there.
The link to buy. But the discount code is called Early Blinker, capital E, capital B. Early Blinker is where you're going to find the discount code at checkout.
All one word?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm putting it in the chat right now.
I was saying Mike, I think, has got it in the chat, so he can pull it up. And then the web address is like jwiresolutions.com. I think it's blinkers priority module. But again, I think Mike get it in the podcast right now.
Yep. He just dropped it in there.
Yep, and then we'll put that down in the description as well for everybody that's at home. So this is pretty cool. So again, early blinker as the discount code. And guys, this is $15 off. This is more than 10% off for everybody that's out there. I want to say this is really cool. Thank you, Jay, for doing that. This is something that you guys are building in-house. So let's talk about kind of a date range of when, if they order now, when we can start seeing those come into houses.
Yep. So in the item description, it states components will start shipping or product will start shipping the week of April 29th. Brian and I will be at the circuit next week, so that does chip into our time a little bit. Circuit boards, I should have shipping information on the circuit boards tomorrow. Parts are anodizer. I have all the stickers and all the boxes already, and I probably have 60,000 feet of wire or something like that in stock. So wiring is not the problem side of it, but it's these other components that we do have a couple vendors that we're waiting on for a couple of these things, but we wanted to bring it out and get it out early. Early spring, so people can, if they're wrapping up their last wiring projects before summer hits, they can get this installed and have them up and running.
Dude, I'm so excited about this. I think this is awesome. This is another huge part for the drag and drive community because, again, just like you said, there's not a whole lot of relays that are laid out underneath the dash. There's not a bunch of what are those things called that like make the clicky noise for that? Those aren't relays. Those are something else.
So the one caveat there is that the flasher module, the way that this plugs back in with this plug, all of your stock body harness components function just like they should.
That's cool.
And so that's a key aspect of it. The one thing I failed to mention is that there is a ground wire that will come out of this with a ring terminal also, and that's needed for the horn functionality. But that will go back through your stock horn relay. It'll go back through your stock flasher. And like I said, it'll get all of your components functioning like they should. Really, it's the ones that come to my brain real quick are Camaros, Novas, Chevelles, Impalas, all like in that, it could go back even earlier into the 60s, but it's definitely like late 60s, early 70s. Wherever you have a bulb that is a parking light and then turn signal that also turns into a brake light when you step on the brakes. Really, that is where this component fits. And like I said, as I just listed those, that there are more, and they're going to use this same exact connector under the dash.
Well, and so the old truck isn't a factory wiring harness anymore, but I think this would probably work for anything that is like a universal harness or something like that, I would imagine, because they typically base a lot of that stuff on the GM parts.
Yeah, like an American Auto Wire kit should work with that. A painless kit, it should function with that as well. So I know that, to your point, they go back to kind of GM standards and a lot of that stuff. And then obviously, if you've got a lightweight column, then that's an avenue to take some weight out of the car, and then this fills the void. So,
dude, I'm so excited, man. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of this release, this big product. And again, folks, save me one because I'm going to have to wait till after the show tonight to order it.
Perfect.
All right, well, dude, we'll see you next weekend, man.
Yes, I will see you next weekend. See you Thursday night, Chicken Annie's.
Yeah, dude. I'm so ready. Matt Cartwright does have a question there. He said, "Can I buy just that horn button setup?"
I could probably put something together with some pricing, certainly.
Okay. Yeah, Matt, message Jay Blanchard or Jay Wire Solutions on Facebook. Probably the easiest way to get a hold of you guys.
Yep, for sure.
Sweet. All right, dude. Thanks a bunch, man. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll catch up with you.
Yep. Later.
See you soon.
Sweet, dude. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's really pretty cool.
Exciting. I'm excited about that because it's going to make it much easier on me wiring blinkers incorrectly for the old truck, because I had thought for some dumbass reason that I would clean that panel up a little bit, and of course did not do it all justice. So I'm going to have to order that to fix all that stuff. Well, let's talk about let's do the Molly ad read here real quick, and then talk about the co-pilot spotlight, and then we're gonna bring Dustyn on to tell some stories, dude. I'm ready to hear some of this stuff.
All right, I'll do the ad read, and then you can talk about the co-pilot spotlight. Attention high performance enthusiasts and sportsman class racers, meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or the 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevy to Volkswagen and Audi, they've got you covered. What sets them apart? It's forged pistons, graphol coating, and phosphate treatment for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsports, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And for the podcast listeners, Molly is spelt Mahle.
That's right. Well, this week's co-pilot spotlight, sponsored by Molly, is for Kanan Hall. And we talked about Kanan a couple weeks ago in that Jeep, that Willys he's building. But
Yep.
in his replies to the form that I'm actually dropping in the chat right now, so you guys can tell your stories of your co-pilots, because we want to see these. One of the questions we ask is, what makes a good co-pilot? And his answer is right there. So it's someone who is a ride or die, who doesn't care to have the thing in a million pieces on the side of the road at 2 a.m. Somebody that pushes you to run one more, go a little faster. I truly believe there is no bad co-pilot. Someone or anyone with you for the journey is already going to be a more enjoyable time. And then he said, my dad, Keith Hall, and I built our truck from the ground up. So I'm sorry, let me move on here. The picture there, you can see it in the back, from the ground up. So we know every bolt and wire in the thing, which helps a lot. And then his wife, Tessa, who's actually helping with the hood there, has always been there while we built it and knows how to work on things. Huge win there. Sometimes we all look over the simple things, and a second set of eyes is all that is needed. This happens a ton of time in drag and drive, where you have no sleep for days, and then something comes up, oh man, and you miss it, and somebody can literally walk up and go, did you check this? And that's what the problem was. So always a good idea. I love to have co-pilots out there. And then I asked, tell us a funny story, or in the form, it's tell us a funny story about your co-pilot. He said, maybe not a funny story, but in the end, it was funny, being that it worked out. Drag Week 2021 was our very first drag and drive. They leave Norwalk, Ohio, headed to Indy. As soon as we pull out of the track, we hear a loud clunk and pull over within 200 feet of leaving the track. After looking everything over and coming to the conclusion that the tires had rolled inside the trailer, we get back on the road. We get to the second checkpoint, which is about 150-ish miles into the trip, and realize the clunk we heard was the hitch sliding out, because the hitch pin had been put in behind the receiver instead of through it. But thankfully, we had safety chains. Surely they didn't drive 150 miles on the safety chains.
I don't know.
Surely not. But that's, man, I'm telling you, that could have been really, really bad. That's a big reason to have safety chains on your stuff. So I'm writing up a full article and supplying the pictures that Kanan sent over within that form. Our 3 of the 4 are there on the screen, and I'll grab some more from their Facebook page as well. So kind of
Yep.
exciting. Again, we want to hear the stories of the co-pilots. The co-pilots a lot of times are what makes these things happen, and keeps everybody motivated. All right, let's move on here real quick, guys. The gentleman's agreement, you know the deal. We love doing this, but we need your help. We need you to subscribe and to follow. We're going to keep working hard over here, but we need you to do that. So, it's kind of the gentleman's agreement. Like, we'll do this, you do that. It all works out perfect. And then we want to say thanks for being a race car friend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. And guys, hit the share button as we move into our guests here tonight. We got Dustyn Caudle coming up. Huge race car friend of ours. We've spent a ton of time together over the years, driven thousands of miles on the same roads, not together, but on the same roads. And then thank you to our sponsors: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains, Power Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk Classifieds, and of course, our new media partner, PowerTube TV, where you can find this or other Drag It Drive Repeat exclusive content over there as well. We take these episodes that you're watching or listening to on the podcast, we take these and cut them down and move them over there with some extra stuff. I'll just say that. More pictures, more content that comes along with a lot of this. So it's kind of fun that they are letting us kind of stretch our wings a little bit. And we appreciate the team over there for doing that. All right.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to Dustyn. Let's bring him on. I'm going to take this down. Mr. Dustyn Caudle. Oh, what have I done here? I've broken it. Hold on. There we go.
I got you.
Eric with the win. How are you this evening, sir?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Oh man, I'm excited to actually spend. This will probably be one of the longest times you and I have talked together.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, typically Dustin's busy getting the trucks ready, or I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off whenever we come by each other. It's the, hey, how are you? You're doing great. Awesome. Great to see you. Big hug. And I'm out. That's kind of been, there's been a few events where I've touched base with you throughout this year. That's our plan, is to follow you a little bit more this year as we come across events. I did miss some times at Sick Week, but I did get some good videos of you that I'm still working through all that Sick Week stuff, the 800 videos I took down there. So, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you drive.
So I'm Dustyn Caudle. I live 30 minutes outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've got it's a 1978 Chevy Love, but I've rebadged it with the Isuzu badging just to make it a little bit more different than, all the other Loves. And a lot of people don't realize, but I have two white Chevy Loves. One's got a 671 supercharger, one's turbocharged. A lot of people think I just pulled the supercharger off, but no, it's two. Yeah, there you go. Two different trucks.
Yeah. This is a great shot that Chris Story took. This is actually on the circuit 2023 where your brother drove one and you and dad were in the other. That's pretty neat.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
so the supercharged truck is actually sitting in storage right now, being neglected. So I kind of feel bad, need to get it back out.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. When you got two race cars, man, it's tough to keep all those things going all the time. Well, what are the setups in those?
So the one that was closer in that picture, it's just a small block Chevy 350 with a 671 supercharger, 350 trans, 350 rear end gear ratio with a Ford 9-inch. It's been 1072 at 125. It's only got a 6-point roll bar in it, so I really don't plan on putting much more in that. And then the other truck, which is kind of my main drag and drive truck now, is it's got an aluminum 5.3 stock bottom end with a 78, 75 BS Racing turbo. I mean, nothing crazy in it. It's got a 4L80 trans with a Ford 9-inch rear end. And the quickest it's been is 890 at 152 miles per hour.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you've hit a ton of events, and that's, I mean, obviously where we met you, but where can people see, like, all these pictures that I'm putting up here? Where can people find those on social media?
So I mainly post on my Unlovable Facebook page. That's pretty much all I have. It's UNLUVABLE. The turbo truck, I call it Unloved, and I didn't really know if I should change the name to include both of them, but I keep it Unlovable as the name.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I dig it, man. And these shots here, I think, are from Sick Week this year, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Red Hat Scotty's asking, what does the turbo truck weigh now?
The turbo truck right now is like 2620. I think the last time I weighed it, that's without me in it. So.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. That's light. That is light.
Yeah.
Well, give us some history, man. What got you into drag and drive?
So I don't even know if he knows it, but Cliff Parvin is actually the one that got me into drag and drive. 2014, we used to ride motorcycles together, and we were out riding one day, and he's like, Hot Rod Drag Week's coming to Tulsa, and I had never even heard of a drag and drive. And he's like, you got to go check it out. So I took off on Monday, from work and went out to the drag strip by myself and just walked through the pits. And I'm looking at those cars and I'm like, there's no way these guys are going to drive over 1,000 miles. And I was instantly hooked, from that day on. I was like, I got to do this. And so it was 3 years later, because at the time I didn't even have a vehicle to, compete. So
Right.
wasn't until 2017 until I did my first drag and drive.
How awesome. So it's funny because I was there at the Tulsa stop. I took off work, drove over that morning, drove home that night. Dude, yeah, big time change, blew my mind. Like Larry Larson's changing turbos over to make the street
Right.
drive. I was like, what is he doing? I mean, they're changing intake. They got the whole thing torn apart there in the pits. It's pretty awesome.
So you didn't have either truck
Yeah.
back then?
No, I didn't have. So a lot of people don't know I have a 67 Chevelle I've had since I was 14 years old. And that's kind of going to be the next project that I will do once I get my house and shop built. But yeah, at the time I didn't have, I was into motorcycles. Like my brother and I, we used to race dirt track cars, and then we kind of got out of that, and I got into motorcycle racing, and then I was riding motorcycles. That's how I ran into Cliff, and then from there, just now we're back into drag racing. So,
That's awesome. What kind of motorcycle did you have?
oh, I've had anything from GSXR 600s to 1000s. I actually bracket raced my GSXR 1000 in 2005 at Tulsa Raceway Park and won the bracket series for that year. So, and it was actually my
Nice.
first year even racing anything. So it's pretty cool.
Dude, I bet you and I tore up some of the same roads on motorcycles. If you were riding those kind of bikes, because I rode early 2000s, I had a 600 Ninja and I had a GSXR 1000 and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we used to go on group rides and we'd always go to Arkansas, just because the roads are so much better.
Yeah. Dude, I guarantee you, me and you ended up in the same groups at some point.
Yep.
That's awesome.
When and how did you end up picking up the trucks then?
I was driving I don't even know. I think I was going to a motorcycle race in Oklahoma City, and I passed a Toyota little, like a 70s Toyota with 20-inch wheels, and just this little truck and big wheels. Just like I was like, I want a little mini truck, and so I found a Chevy Love on Marketplace, and I bought it, and was just intending to keep the 4-cylinder in it and just drive it, and then once I was like, man, I could small block swap this and make it fast, and it just snowballed from there.
Nice.
I bet, yeah, and I can only imagine the build through there. So you've given your dad probably some scares over the years being driving. So he's your co-pilot, which is super cool. How many events have you guys been on together?
I've counted, including like some small regional ones or some weekend ones, over 21 events since 2017.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. What was the first event that you did?
2017, the Hot Rod Drag Week at Cordova.
Okay.
Oh, dude.
I think I would have been there.
Wow. It's a small world, man.
Yeah.
So you and I choose some of the same. Oh, did we lose him? He gone. That's wild. Dang, he's been backstage since like 6:30.
Yeah.
An hour and a half back there. I bet his phone died. Man, he's one of the funnest people. And again, one of the reasons we awarded him, we didn't give him anything. We awarded him with one of the ambassadors of Drag and Drive was because of his 2023 event list. Dude, he did 8 events in 2023. And I think in 2021, he did 5 national level events. Hey, he's back.
I don't know what happened.
He gone. So we were just talking about the 2023 events that you did. Like you did like 8 events in 23, right?
Yeah. The Sick Week, 3 King of the Open Roads, Rocky Mountain Race Week, Death Week, Cruise. I can't remember if we did cruise and lose. Yeah, we did cruise and lose last year, but yeah, it was 8. But I'd have to look at my notes to see which
Man.
ones they all were.
Yeah, you guys were all over the place. And then I came up on Friday of 1.0 when it was in Kearney, and you guys were just getting back. So tell the story of Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 2023.
So we showed up in Kearney, made one pass, and it was during the heat of the day. So we were going to wait till it cooled off and make a second one, and shifted the second gear and broke the input shaft on the transmission. And so we loaded up, took it home. I overnighted an input shaft, put it in the truck, and then whenever they came back, Rocky Mountain Race Week, they do the exhibition class. If you break during the week, you can come back and compete for a prize. And so we got it fixed up, came back, and we won the exhibition class and got some money.
Yeah, and how far that was it's like 400 and something miles from Tulsa to Kearney, right? It was something
Yeah,
like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say it was at least 500 one way.
So you drove 2,000 miles that week to make passes on Monday and Friday.
Yeah. So my dad, if you ever see him in the truck, he's got this folder and he keeps, kind of stats and price. He writes down every price that we spend, we buy, and he keeps track of mileage. And we drove, I think, to and from each event, we drove 15,000 miles last year.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so cool. That
Yeah,
is
that's
so
awesome.
cool. Wow, I didn't know he kept that. So him and I are going to have some conversations at the
Yeah.
at the circuit. That's for sure. Yeah, I want to see some of that stuff. One thing I do want to talk about is this setup here. So kind of walk us through what you guys, what your new tow rig setup is.
So it's a 2003 Chevy Express 3500 box truck, and we took the walls down on the inside and insulated. We took the back roll-up door off and walled it off in sheet metal and put another walk-through door, and basically converted the whole inside to an RV. It's got running water, refrigerator, cabinets. It's got a pull-out sofa, an elevator bed, TV, a solar panel on top. I mean, so we can roll up to a track and just camp there the whole weekend, or even going to events. We usually, when the sun goes down, I get where I start falling asleep. So it's like we can just pull over to a rest stop and and then get up and go the next morning.
Yeah,
So it's been a game changer for us.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, 15,000 miles. That's definitely a game changer. And that's one of the biggest things for me for, what I want to do. I want to, you and I've had this conversation. I want to build something like that, or I want to buy something, a small RV, because I need it to go fast so I can get to events. But man, it's the same thing. If you drive until you can't, well, then if you start looking for a hotel, you may be 30 minutes from a hotel. With something like this, you literally just whip in a rest area and get you, 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then you're back on the road. But you get good sleep, not like in the seat of the truck sleep.
Yeah.
Can you get to the back of that from inside the cab, or do you got to get out?
No, it's got to pass through, so we can crawl through into the back.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary trying to drive down the road. You're in the back.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit here, what's your favorite parts of doing a drag and drive?
I mean, obviously the racing, but it's one thing that whenever we're on the road going to the next track, and when the routes get posted and we roll into a small town and there's people lined up, kids out there waving, and people making signs and unofficial checkpoints, maybe an unofficial burnout checkpoint or whatever, that's I like to see that. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the funnest things is when those kids are out there and they're like, "Do a burnout."
Yeah.
Or the old guy sitting in front of a cooler. Those are the guys I like too.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Everybody likes burnouts.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, the cool thing is that truck will definitely do one. We've seen several of those. I wish I'd grabbed some of those pictures from the Unlovable Facebook page of that or the Chris Story album when we were at Big Brutus. Man, out there on the street, that was awesome. Or the cars on the route. Phew,
Yeah.
truck gets down.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the circuit because we're getting close to it. What's kind of your plans for it? What class are you in? And then, what's your goal?
Well, I signed up for Unlimited, and so Unlimited's an 8th mile class, and
Mhm.
I really don't do any 8th mile racing. Everything we do is 1/4 mile. Death Week is last year was 8th mile, so that's kind of the only thing I've done 8th mile. But my goal is just to improve on the last time we were out. I don't really set my goals too high. Like if we can just improve on one thing, I'm good. So if we can run a quicker time, which I think we can, then Death Week, then I'll be happy.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to be excited to watch you attack that because we're gonna, again, we've Mocan starting and ending at Mocan, but throwing in the Route 66 to Springfield and be our second time at Ozark. So it's going to be kind of fun to have everybody back over there. And at last time we were at Ozark, I drove up that night and hung out for a little bit and then drove back home like an idiot. I should have just like hung out for the weekend, but at that point I didn't think I could do that. So we're doing that this
Yeah.
time. We're gonna have a blast. Um, I think at this point we'll probably cover that's going to be almost 300 miles of Route 66 that we'll have covered in
Yeah.
between last year and this year. So it's going to be really cool, man. I'm pumped to bring everybody down that.
Yeah, and it's Route 6, there's so many things you can see on it. It's like even if you do it multiple times, you're going to see something new every time. So
Yeah, and especially that part because there's so many properties that have so many cool cars that people's heads going to be on a swivel. Our necks are going to be
mhm.
hurting by the end of it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what's your plans for 2024? Anything upgrades for the vehicle, or what events are you planning on attending?
Um, not not many upgrades. I will say I am working on a another engine. It's basically going to be another aluminum 5.3. It's going to be stock board. It's going to be a stroker crank, all forged bottom end, and just build it to hold a little more force boost because I feel like we're kind of leaning on our stock bottom end now, and so it's like I don't really want to tear it up because it's been for 2 years and hasn't
Yeah.
given us a lick of problem. So it's like I don't want to tear it up just to tear it up. So I'd rather just build a new one and then swap it out. And that one will probably go into my Chevelle whenever we start working on it.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome. So go ahead. We'll talk about the
uh,
Chevelle after you tell us the 2024 plans. Sorry.
so we've already done Sick Week, and then we've got the circuit coming up. Then we're signed up for King Open Road. We're doing Streetcar Takeover at Thunder Valley, Oklahoma City. Signed up for Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week, which I'm excited to go to some new tracks on Race Week.
Mhm.
Signed up for 666, and then assuming Jared's going to do another King of the Open Road in Texas, we'll do that one also. So
Dude,
That's a
be another
lot.
full year.
yeah, that's for sure. That's some stuff a little closer to home. Let's talk about 666 for a second because that'll be one of the first times any of us have ever done like a one-way trip, which I think is going to be pretty neat. So, what's the plan there? Are you going to have somebody following in the RV, or are you going to leave the RV at Springfield and then drive on home, or drive, I guess, all the way back?
We are we are going to leave the RV at home and drive the truck to the whole route, to and from and back. So
Yeah.
we won't have anywhere.
That's awesome. And I guess that makes sense because you live in Tulsa. We're going, it's 666 is Springfield, Mocan, Tulsa, and then Oklahoma City, and then I think Amarillo. I think in Amarillo, I've got to cut off and head back to St. Louis, but for an event. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. That's going to be one that
Yeah.
I'm really excited about. I've never been past whatever we did last year on Route 66. Like as far as driving it the whole way, we've made
Yeah.
stops and pops and all that kind of stuff when we were in Oklahoma City, but never cruised the whole thing. So it's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah, and I think even in Albuquerque Dragway on that route too.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going there too. So I think
Yeah.
this year alone I'll be adding. So I keep track of how many tracks I've actually been to, and I think I've been to 29 different tracks. So I think this year we'll add 6 or 7 at least to that list. So
Yeah,
That's
for
cool.
sure. Yeah, new tracks for race week, which is going to be awesome. I'm sad I'm going to miss race week because we're Eric and I are doing drag week, but the 666 is going to be cool because obviously anything west of Oklahoma City I've never been to, so that'll be kind of fun to go. Again, I'll be at Amarillo and then Albuquerque, and then what's the other one? Alien.
yeah, in Roswell.
Yeah, Alien City or something like that. Dragway. So
Yeah.
that'll be cool. Yeah, you're gonna have a busy year, man. A lot of new areas to be cruising around in the unloved truck.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, again, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow along, and all that stuff, and then we'll see you, I guess, in a couple days.
All right. So you can find me either on my personal Facebook page, which is Dustyn Caudle, my name, or the Unlovable Facebook page. It's UNLUVABLE.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you for hanging out backstage, and this won't be the last time you're on here. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. You've got some really fun, man, just a lot of drag and drive history there. 21 events since 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were addicted, man. You're addicted.
Yeah.
Are addicted.
Exactly.
That word. Are.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll
man.
see you soon.
Yep.
Yep. See ya.
See you. Man, I'm telling you, that dude is one of my favorite people in all of the car community, but really in drag and drive. He always has a big smile, always working hard, always making sure that the truck is ready. And seeing his dad is always cool. Like those dudes live the life, man. I'm telling you, or work the life. I guess as I can't
Yeah.
keep saying living the dream. It's working the dream. So
Yeah. And it's just cool to see how quickly that he got into it and then just was full steam into it. That's awesome to see. And I mean that's a lot of events in a year. So
well, I mean, you think about it, that's like an average of at least 4 a year minimum.
yeah.
So 2017 he probably did one. And then now he did 8 last year. So 4 a year. To take off. That's the kind of addiction we need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep, that's pretty cool. He's a great dude, and that truck 899 or 890, man, that's
Yeah.
fast. That is fast. And
Yeah,
so
on
I
a
think
stock bottom N53.
I've actually been at a couple. I think I was at the track or at the Dragon Drive where he got his first 9 as well. I'll have to go back. I should do a better job of naming all of those videos that I take because I can go back and get that. But I think I was there when he got his 8 and his 9 both in that truck.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. Well, let's thank all of our race car friends here real quick, and then we're going to bring on Mr. Joe Grier, 4-Eyed Performance, who's been waiting patiently behind backstage this whole time. So, all right, guys. Well, here, dude. I've been doing it. You do it. You thank our race car friends.
All right. Like you said, we're going to thank the race car friends again. We can't do this without all your guys' support. You guys keep us motivated, keep us going to put all these notes together, reach out to the guests and put on these shows. So we appreciate all of your support. And we want to say thanks to all of our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, Performance Transmissions, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and our newest media partner, PowerTube TV.
Yep, that's awesome. We appreciate all those folks being a part of this. And let's bring on Mr. Joe Grier. How are you this evening, sir? Oh, you're muted. Yep, there at the bottom. Perfect. Y'all, I don't know if you noticed, but he
Hey,
was
can you hear me?
those trucks at that. Man, we got you now. Can you
Sweet.
can you hear us?
Oh, but of course.
Ah,
It's kind of hard to
perfect.
follow Dustyn. He's a nice guy.
Oh man, he's awesome. He's awesome. Well, the fun part is in talking through our conversations, I've learned a lot more that you have a lot of stories. And so, like I told you the other day, we're going to this is going to be like a teaser. I think we need to do like a long format show and let you tell some of the stories from back in the day.
Oh, I don't know. Let's start off with so the truck I run currently, my 1970 Chevy short bed, I built for the Gasser classes. It's actually a truck I've owned since '97, and I used to race it at Mocan when I lived in Nevada, Missouri.
Nice.
And
What's what's the
so
setup on it?
currently it's a it's a stock bore 360 or stock bore LQ4 364-inch. It's a Works Turbo billet S480 turbo or 4L Works Turbo S480 turbo 4L80E, and it's a 14 bolt corporate 9.5-inch with 373s. It's a pig. It weighs 4,100 pounds right now without me in the dual fuel systems.
Holy jeez, dude, that's insane. That's way heavier than I thought that thing would be.
Yeah,
Right.
and best so far is a 10.4 at 132 on 14 pounds of boost and pump gas. So now I'm going to MS 109 because the last Rocky Mountain race week, I lifted ahead and I'm like, this is too expensive to risk it on pump gas.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what are you expecting with the 109? Are you going to be able to manage power better, or are you just going to be able to turn it up some more so you can go faster?
Both. So, I'm not limited as much on timing. It'll be more boost friendly, and I don't have to worry about, how much additives, how much, extra ethanol has been dumped into the pump gas I was running, and not have to overcompensate with water methanol. So I'll still run the water methanol for cooling, but the MS 109 allow me to run a little bit more timing, a little bit more boost, and I'll just feel safer all the way through.
That's awesome. Well, sorry, I blew right past it. Why don't you introduce yourself and then kind of talk a little bit about Four-Eyed Performance too.
Okay, Joe Grier. I'm from St. Joe, Missouri. Everything pretty much started, like I said, with that 70 short bed back in '97. Raced it for a while, moved back home, didn't do anything. And then 2001, I bought a brand new Corvette. And then I proceeded for the next, 14, 15 years to take a road race built car. Like literally, essentially, I built a car to road race and lane speed race to drag week from 06 to 14 and Rocky Mountain Race Week and the Sandhill races in Nebraska. Hot Rod magazines. I did 10 Hot Rod magazine top speed shootouts in it. I've pretty much driven that car everywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to talk about this here in just a minute. So that leads us into like the kind of car you built, but so you learned a lot. I'm assuming this is where you learned, like you cut your teeth on tuning and figuring out what all that kind of how to get the most power. So what's the setup in this car?
That setup was basically the setup I run in my truck now. A 370 cubic, or it was a 370 billet S480, 6-speed manual trans car, and then a 2810 16 drag or slick.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, but for the last couple of years at Rocky Mountain Race Week, I just show up on my street tires. I unhook the trailer, unload the car, run 1040s to 1060s at 135 miles an hour, load everything back up in it, and then me and my buddy are cruising down the road listening to stereo.
That's awesome. Well, who are some of your co-pilots you've had over the years?
Last year in Rocky Mountain Race Week 10 when I won was my buddy Boone Sondrager. And then returning with me to Rocky Mountain Race Week 10 this year will be my buddy Adam, who's been with me on a Rocky Mountain Race Week as a co-pilot. And I talked him into racing his 01 regular cab short bed truck as well.
That's awesome.
And then for the circuit coming up will be my girlfriend, and she'll be my co-pilot.
That's cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I think that'll be that's what I think the weekend events are going to be great for, is because it allows maybe some spouses and boyfriends and girlfriends to come along and not be immersed. I mean, dude, let's be real. Like a June Rocky Mountain Race Week is tough.
Oh yeah,
like very hard. And these weekend events in the early part of the season here, I think we're going to have some good weather. It's going to be easier on people, all that stuff. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I broke her in pretty good last year. So we went to the 1320 event up in Omaha, or just south of Omaha, and entered in the 650 class. And I got my behind handed to me because, just poor lean prep. And But the girlfriend went, she had fun. So she's like, I want to do this again. So I'm like, all right, baby, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So what was your first event that you did? First drag and drive event?
It was Hot Rod Drag Week 2006 in my Corvette. I made it 3 days, and then the crankshaft bolt came out. Crankshaft pulley spun mid-track and cut into the steering rack of my Corvette. So I got pulled off the track, where I came off the track, and I got stopped immediately for dripping oil everywhere. And we left it for 2 days. I hopped into a buddy's car. We finished drag week, came back to the track. I JB welded everything together, threw the crank bolt, snugged her back down, and then drove it, 3 or 6 hours home.
Wow,
Nice.
that's awesome. So what kind of got you into drag and drive?
Mainly I used to do a lot of street racing, and then back in the day, that's when the KCIR track, the Kansas City International Raceway track, was open. So we'd go there, every Friday, Saturday night, cruise, have them, do our little activities and whatnot. And then it's about 2005. I was going to the CorvetteForum.com gatherings and all that, just hanging out. I got Corvette jokes out the wazoo, by the way. And a buddy of mine's like, hey, we're going to do this thing called Drag Week. You want to go? And I'm like, man, I've already got, everything's scheduled to go to this event, and there's autocross racing and everything else going on. And that would have been the first drag week. And I wish I would have gone now, but hindsight.
Yep. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Forums, man. No, these kids these days, they don't understand how cool they were.
Right.
Let alone dial up. Yeah.
Oh, dude. The great thing about a forum, though, is like that information is there forever. Trying to search for something in a Facebook group is so tough. So the forums were amazing for that kind of stuff.
The only thing that really gets me is like the V bulletin backups where it's all just straight type. And you're like, oh man, I'm trying to sort through it. You're like, I remember this from like 10 years ago. Where was it at?
That's exactly right. Well, so over the years, how many drag and drive events have you done?
Oh, like I said, Drag Week 2006 to 14. And then I helped Tech on 15. And then Rocky Mountain Race Week 17. And then I sponsored Rocky Mountain Race Week from 2019 to current.
That's awesome. Well, and you came on board as a sponsor this year, and we're going to have some fun with the sponsorship. So
yeah.
You are the sponsor for the biggest wheelie of the event, which, dude, if it's anything like Joel Clark had last year, we're going to see some insane stuff.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited about that. And then I think, getting that trophy for that is going to be a good thing. I think people are going to enjoy that. And part of that thing is that they get their entry fee back. So somebody puts one on the bumper, they had a good opportunity to get their $300 back, and hopefully they don't tear anything up and then go on through the weekend.
And not to mention bragging rights for the next year.
That's exactly right. And then Johnny Allen is also throwing in like a photo package along with that. So kind of cool, man. They're going to be able to memorialize, hopefully not tearing anything up during the whole weekend. So we're excited to have you on board for the Circuit 2024 for sure.
Me too. Plus I get to race. So that's
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. That's really what it's all about.
And like the crazy thing for me was going back to what got me started. Like I attend all the drag and drives and I race, but it always seems like I spend more time helping people figure their stuff out or sourcing parts or bringing parts or, just getting other people going. And then I'll be like, oh crap, I got to get my truck ready, my car ready. I'll go make a pass. And then I'm back to helping other people again. That's what it seemed like it's been for the last 19 years.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Being involved in drag and drive that long, what are some of the favorite parts you've had? I mean, what keeps you coming back to this?
Like I've been in Hot Rod magazine. I don't know, a few times more than I would like to mention. And I got quoted in one, and they're like, "What's the best thing about it?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a cool thing is like I was racing a Corvette. And I'm like, I can go anywhere. I can race it. I can throw groceries in the back, and then I can still drive to California."
Mm-hmm.
And it's the diversity. I mean, you meet so many different people from so many different areas of the country.
Yeah.
Or Canada or Mexico or England.
Right.
Everybody comes together, and you're just one kind of group in unison. Everybody kind of helps everybody else out. You get to have fun. Going back to your car show pictures, you might see you know, a Lamborghini or, you know, a Nash Metro Pro Street or, you know, a new Corvette or a
That's
63 split window Corvette or Camaros, Novas,
Yeah.
Dart Swingers. I mean, it's just the diversity is amazing to me. I mean, even the motorcycle classes now too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
hell, like
that'd be awesome.
Pat Cook last year, I brought his dad along so, you know, they could be together. And, you know, Pat's racing DeGrom, and I got his dad as my co-pilot. And, you know, he had a blast. I mean, you know, if I can help somebody else have fun while I'm having fun, hell, why not?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's a great way to look at it. And I'm telling you, you know, we had Pat on last week. Great stories. And the same reason he keeps coming back is the same reason you're talking about. Like, it's the community. I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day in person. And I'm like, it's like, I think deep down, we are nomadic people. We are a group of traveling, like, we need that in our lives, right?
Yeah.
The cool thing about Drag and Drive is everybody wants everybody to stay in the tribe and keep moving. There's
Yeah.
not like, oh, the weak fall out. It's like, oh, no. We got to get them and we got to bring them with us. So you have a traveling band of 500 people that are trying to get everybody, come on. We're going to work on stuff on the side of the road and all that.
Yeah.
stuff.
And you always see the memes that are like, you know, I have a lot of friends, but I have a lot more racing friends. And it seems like that's true in life.
Yeah.
Like I've got
Absolutely.
friends in Texas. I'll call up and be like, "Hey, brother, what are you doing?" Be like, "Oh, nothing. Eating dinner. You want to come over?" And it's like, "Well, you know, you're only 950 miles away." So
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's probably Pat Cook you're talking about.
actually, Chad Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, Jonathan Stonecipher says, no racer left behind. That's exactly right.
Well,
MRLB.
and like last year, he told me about his bet. You know, the first race out of the track. So I'm
Yep.
like, "All right, whatever you guys do, I want to match it." So you know, they got the $260 or whatever for the pool.
Yep.
I wanted to match it. So
Yep.
I mean, it's just I want to, like, you know, the children's charity, everything else. You know, I want to help out because it, you know, it kind of makes me feel good. But you know, I also need some tax write-offs. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. Well, one of the coolest things about this year too is we're gonna, just like last year, we're gonna drive right by that place. Now it's not a
Yeah.
route stop this year like it was last, but we're driving right past it this year. So I'm hoping that we're gonna have some burnout opportunities there for them kids that are gonna be at the. We're helping the Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri this year. First time I've worked with them, and I'm telling you, they've gone above and beyond. They've been amazing, and I think those kids are going to enjoy all these hot rods coming by. All
Yeah,
right. Well,
it's gonna be good.
yeah, let's talk about kind of your plans, what class you're in, what your ET goal is for the circuit.
Gasser, you know, you're always hoping for 9s. So like the truck's been 1040 in Colorado. So I'm hoping, you know, it'll be new fuel setup, new engine. I lifted ahead, Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0. And so I had to go through everything. And then while I was at it, I built the motor for my Corvette to get it going again. And then I bought an 89 or a 90 IROC Z Camaro to go again. And then I've got an 82 3/4 ton swap I'm trying to finish up to get that going again. So I've got all my projects plus my side business, which is 4-Ride Performance, which I help people track issues. I help people get them going. I help people tune. And then I work as 50 plus hour a week job too. So, you know, it's just, I don't know how the girlfriend stays with me sometimes because she's like, "You're always busy. You never here." But no, she doesn't say that. She's just like, "All right, honey, just tell me when you're going to be home."
Oh, we know that. We know how that is.
Yeah.
Mike and I are just as busy. So
We're here, but we're here.
Yeah.
Here with this. That's awesome.
What about for the rest of 2024? Do you have other events planned, or what do you got for the rest of the year?
Race week 1.0, race week 2.0, and then it just whatever open time I got left. You know, if Kyle at 1320 has another event this year, I'll try to hit that because I'm out of St. Joe and it's, you know, it's just an hour and a half drive for me. You know, just hop in the truck, load it up, roll in, have everybody's head stop and stare when you're pulling in, you know, driving your vehicle, and they're unloading everything on the trailer. And that's kind of one thing is I love is just, you know, like Dustyn said, you know, you roll in with your race vehicle. If it breaks, it breaks. If it doesn't, you know, just roll it.
Yep. That's awesome.
Then, I don't know. Like I said, and then those two events mainly, I really enjoy those. And then if something else pops up, great. If not, I got projects I need to finish and get going. And then I got a customers and friends I need to help get their stuff going. So
There you go.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about 4i Performance. Like, what do you do there? What's the
4i Performance started off as with my Corvette back in 05. Back in the early days of LS, there was 60 shops all across the country that were trying to sell you the latest and greatest. And, we'll do tuning, we'll do this, do that. So I bought a heads and cam setup from a well-known distributor that's still around. And I had to do mail order tuning back then. So, it was pull my PCM out, send it down there. They'd tune it, send it back, take a couple data logs. Well, the tune ended up melting 6 pistons.
Oh, man.
So I pretty much started off with HP tuners, and then I use EFI Live now. But, it started off as just, if I'm going to have a finger to point at somebody, it's going to be this guy. So,
yeah.
And then single guy, no kids, everything else. I made too much money. So my accountant's like, look, you got to start a business. So I started a business because I was already tuning cars for people anyway. So that's where it's become.
Yeah.
And then, now it seems like I spend more money financially, like donating and sponsoring events. Like hell, I sponsor Southeast truck races down in Florida. I sponsor races in Georgia, $500 here, $1,000 here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of just helping people and things keep going, just like you don't want to see racetracks closed down, especially. So if you can help like a local racetrack or something else keep going, why not?
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, we're certainly glad to have you on this year. And I know that can grow into some fun stuff. The one thing that, we talked about when we were going through that was like, do you want to sponsor a class? Do you want to sponsor a specialty trophy? And you were like, give me some ideas on specialty trophies. It was like biggest wheelie. Yeah, I'll do that one. That works. So pretty cool. Well, when so do you tune stuff at the house? Do you have a dyno? Do you like mainly do like stuff?
It's kind of weird. So like as my job now, I'm actually a controls engineer. So I program industrial machinery. I do industrial wiring. I make fixtures, brackets, you name it. I basically am given a project and then I make sure it happens. So I tend to go like, I don't have a shop because I don't want people coming to my house basically. Mm-hmm. So I go to people's shops. I go to people's garages. Nice. I'll meet people and, I'll help them sort their issues out and I'll help tune their vehicles. Hopefully we get it knocked out first time. Sometimes it takes twice. Mm-hmm. If I got to tune a car with a huge cam and it's 3 degrees out, I'm probably going to have to go back once or twice to get it dialed in perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's cool. So
then the other thing that helps me too is I don't have the overhead from a shop, so I can charge people less money, and then they're like, well, my buddy will sell on Facebook or Craigslist. And I'm like, well, go call them and, have fun. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. That dude's not here. And I've proven myself that's why you're here.
Like the crazy thing to me is I got asked the other day how many cars I've tuned. And I figured it up the other day, and just being a single entity since 2004 or so, I've tuned about 580 vehicles. I mean, that's crazy to me because, working a full-time job and everything else, you don't realize it till I realize that I've gone through 3 EFI Live modules because I filled them up. Wow. Like my HB Tuners module is pretty full too. And then that's not including the Holly, the Haltech, the Mega Squirt. I mean, there's so many Mega Squirt tunes we used to do, just because it was, it was the cheap thing back then. Mega Squirt, Micro Squirts. Nobody even knows what they are anymore. They're like, I want a Holly or I want a Haltech or I want this. And it's like, well, Mega Squirt's still there and it works. It's not the greatest, but it still works.
Yeah. And for a lot of stuff, I would think, the benefit to like a Terminator X is that it's just easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of folks use all plug and play and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And most people that really don't understand, you enter the basic parameters. If you're just doing a simple LS swap, basic parameters, hey, you're rolling. I mean, literally it fires a fuel pump. You got pressure. It self-learns. Rolling.
Yeah. Yep. And it's pretty it's literally comes in a box and you just put all the stuff that's in the box together.
Yeah. And then you hear about, well, I got a Dominator and I'm running 3 expansion IO modules and this. And it's just like, oh, dear Lord. And you want 4 different fuel maps for 4 different fuel types. Oh, this is going to be a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually the guys that are running that kind of stuff, they know.
They go to a shop. They go to a nice shop.
They know what they're getting into. The cool thing I would think about guys like you that have an extensive knowledge of that kind of stuff is especially at these kind of events. There's a lot of opportunities or times where somebody may have just gotten their car together. Like we're going to see this at the circuit. In 9 days, we're going to see this happen. Is that guys just get their car together a couple days before, they get it running with like the basest of tunes, and then some folks there are going to be needed to help get maybe that car to run better. And so
Yeah.
it's great having guys like you around. It's going to be really fun. Yeah, we're not going to be telling everybody that. We're not going to be telling them, hey, oh yeah, just take your laptop over to Joe. No!
I mean, but that's how it happens, or like crazy things. You'll be at a racetrack for like Rocky Mountain Race Week or on Drag Week, and racer needs this, and then it's crazy the amount of spare parts I bring because I think, okay, I need this, and this, and I'm like, well, I might as well bring this. Well, I might as well bring this, and then I got a truck, with 600 pounds of shit or stuff in the back, and and it's just like, oh, racer need. Oh yeah, I got 3 of them, or I got this, or I got this.
Well, that's right. Well, almost 20 years of drag and drive experience, you've probably got it down to a science of what to pack.
Yeah.
Well,
like
go ahead.
No, you were talking about, like crazy stories about driving earlier. Was one of the guys that commented. One of the drag weeks, we went out to Pittsburgh Dragway, and I made it to Pittsburgh in my Corvette with a slipping clutch, and then I still had to make it all the way back 2 more tracks, and then back to St. Joe, Missouri from Pittsburgh. So
nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, dude. That's a long way.
Hoping and praying.
Yeah, right. Well,
you're gonna ask though.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's back up some. I wanna know a little bit of history, like car history. So, 11-year-old Joe, was he a car guy? Have you always been a car guy?
Yeah, I grew up on the family farm, and my dad was a diesel mechanic, so everything he had was diesel except for his '79 Ford Bronco. So I turned 16. I bought it from my dad, basically. And then I had a 77 F-250 Highboy, 35s. My dad and I put a big block Ford in it. All that. It's a nice mud runner. And then I started getting into Camaros. And then, I'm on like my 7th or 8th, 3rd gen Camaro now.
I knew I liked you.
So what's the quickest car that you've owned?
That's my Corvette. So it's gone standing miles, like the Hot Rods Top Speed Challenge races. It's gone 199.74 times on pump gas, which is just an ultimate kick to the huevos.
Man.
But I drove it there, I raced it, and I drove it home.
Is that on a street? Like you're like,
yes, well, like the Hot Rod Top Speed Challenges are actually be like airport runways. This picture is actually from the Sand Hills races in Arnold, Nebraska. So it's gone. This picture was 2 years before the last time I went. And I think on that run, I went like 191. And literally it's that. You have got no side rails to it. And then about the 7/8 mile mark, there's a dip. So you'll feel it coming hard. And 2 years ago on that dip, my data logger was showing 195.6 miles an hour. I hit a dip and I went from 5,200 RPMs to 7,500 RPMs and pretty much just took out the thrust in the engine.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty intense. I would imagine that could cause some struggles there.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty wild. So how'd you get into doing those the top speed challenge and stuff like that?
Actually, it was my first drag week, 2006. Keith Turk, he's like, this car, you really ought to bring it out to the East Coast Timing Association trials in Maxton, North Carolina. And I'm like, all right.
Damn no Keith Turk.
He told me, and then I proceeded to do the next, I think 11 top speed challenges in that car.
Wow.
Holy
driving. I actually towed it out twice. The first year, 2007 and 2008, I towed it. And then every year since then, I just drove it. Because, back then when it was still in Maxton, North Carolina, driving through the mountains, it was awesome. You just roll up the hills, roll down the hills, perfect scenery. And then it moved to Wilmington, Ohio. Same thing. Just load the car up with the trailer, haul it out there, race it, drive it back.
Wow.
Nice.
And then one of the last years at Wilmington, I lost one of the cam bearings spun. I mean, the same 6-liter I'd been beaten on for stock short block 6-liter, untouched completely. 05, late model, floating piston ring or floating rods, just camshaft, twin 58 millimeter turbos. Spun 2 cam bearings, and I thought I lost a lifter, and just pissed off, mad. Drove 620 miles home to find out that I spun 2 cam bearings.
Wow. That's crazy. I see. So Jay Blanchard, who was on earlier, is at Brian Acton's shop, and you were talking about land speed stuff.
Yeah, Brian's a good friend of mine from all of the land speed racing.
I saw Brian sneak over to the computer trying. Hang on, I'm gonna bring him over.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
muted.
you guys
I'm
are
not muted.
Sorry, I when I saw you come over, I was like, oh yeah, he heard land speed. He heard Axton.
We've known each other for a few years.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
He was kicking my butt at every one of them too.
You were right there. You, Riken, all those guys. So, yep. Just took the Nova for a drive, so we're excited about that. She's running cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to tell them some more about your vet, Joey. There's some pretty wild stories there.
Yeah, it's crazy when you pull up into a car at like an event like that, and everybody's just staring at you, and you unhook your trailer, you take your trailer mat out, you bolt your parachute mount on, you bolt your aluminum air dam to the front of it, and they're looking at you like, what in the hell? And then you go make a couple 190-mile-an-hour plus passes, or like back when I first started doing it, I was naturally aspirated. So, every time I'd go, I'd set a new naturally aspirated record. It was like, cool, sweet. And then somebody beat it the next event. And just, that's the progression.
One of the fastest cars there that drove his car to the event. I mean, we trailered our stuff like most people. So he was probably the fastest guy that drove his car there from the distance, coming from Missouri all the way to Ohio or Maxton is a hell of a feat.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think St. Joe, Missouri to Maxton's that's got to be
22 hours one way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What's that? 1,100 miles, 950?
Yeah, it's like right at about 11. I think it's like 10,050. From my house to Biggin's house was 1,128 miles.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
So do you still do the top speed challenge stuff?
I haven't done it for 3 years.
Yeah. So is the fastest you've gone is the 199.7?
4 times.
I was just telling Jay about that.
So there's got to be some kind of drive there to get back out and get into the 200, isn't there?
I mean, always there is, but it's just like I either run into an oiling issue or something stupid. And I'm always on pump gas. That's the thing, because I'm like, if I want to do it, I want to do it on pump gas, where everybody else is running race fuel, which, if I had any intelligence, I would have been doing it on a race fuel and done it, been there years ago.
Yeah.
But the mile is hard on your engine. A lot of people don't realize that, but it is a whole different ballgame than drag racing.
Yeah.
That last quarter mile is your car is just going up so slow in RPM and just screaming to get that last 15 or 20 miles an hour. You're beating the crap out of your car.
And not to mention, go ahead, Brian. Oh, and on the LS format, you got to remember that for that long, I mean, you've probably got 75% of your oil pan up in the valve train that hasn't drained back down yet. So I'd have 2 oil accumulators in the car and everything else just to maintain oil pressure and keep it alive.
Yep.
So how long does a mile take at that kind of speed? Like what's your
I think it's like 32 seconds. Wow. 28 to 32 seconds.
Yeah, we were in the high 20s, 28 seconds.
I mean, at wide open throttle for
But the difference, and Joey can tell you this, when you're taking off, you're on an unprepped grooved surface, so you're not wide open for several hundred feet.
Unless you're a nut job.
Yeah. Unless you want to loop your car in the first 300 feet. But
he's out prepping the track, spraying it, lighting stuff on fire. He's like, we got to get to it, boys.
If you get a chance later on, Michael, there's a video, Maxton Corvette spin, and that's me hitting a 300 shot. And as soon as I hit third gear, and it's just
wow.
Yeah, there's some other videos. So the car we had dual 4 barrels, so the throttle linkage was viewable through the camera we ran out the windshield. And so you can see how I'm applying throttle. There's YouTube videos out there for our car too. Wow. And it's amazing how long it takes in the run to get the throttle blades wide open. It's probably pushing the 8th mile.
Wow.
So that's where it takes the 25 to 28 seconds to go 200 plus.
Yeah.
Brian used to drive a 3rd gen with a couple of good old boys called the Geezer Express.
Yep.
And it was always awesome to see him show up because he's just 2 old happy guys. And Brian's like, all right, this car has to go.
Yeah. I can only imagine Brian in that mode. And then 2 dudes that are enjoying themselves.
Yep. 2 dudes are enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, Brian, we're going to kick you off. We got to start kind of closing the show down, but stay with us, and then we'll all jump on afterwards.
Yep. Good seeing you, Joey.
Hey, Brian.
Have fun. Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of land speed stuff we can talk about. I do want to. I want to kind of switch back to drag week and stuff. What were the early years like for drag week? Like, it grew so fast. Like it went from like 40 to 80 to 150. Like
honestly, that's like the early years of drag week. That's why I was so drawn to race week, because it was how drag week was. It was just everybody hanging out, everybody helping people. Towards the later years of drag week, it wasn't fun. Like I can remember in Tulsa, I spent almost 9 hours in the staging lanes trying to get one pass.
Wow.
Just because, hey, no, I get it. They had to sell magazines. They had to do everything else. They had to get, the crowd pleasing attention guys. But, like literally it would be 4 lanes of cars sitting in there for 9 hours, not making a pass. Or you get 3 cars and then somebody oil it down. You got to wait. 3 cars, somebody oils it down. You got to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was probably 2014, right? In Tulsa. And then
actually 2014, I grenaded the differential in my Corvette on my first pass.
So you were one of those guys.
Well, no, but I didn't know nothing on the track. So we pushed my car off into the pits, ran over to U-Haul, rented a car, and then just did the whole week in our rental car.
That's awesome. Well, 2014 was a big year because there was so many folks like, Matt was on 2014, then 2015, the race week kicks off. So, essentially you go from what was 300 cars, probably, I think it's 280 something, 270 something for 2014. And then 2015, you go to 60 cars with Matt and them. So, I'm sure it felt like the old days of drag week. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, like even now it's still like the old ways it used to be. You can walk around the pitch, talk to anybody, everybody's, happy. And they're not like, oh, no, don't look at my car. No pictures, no this. It's not like everybody trying to hide their secrets and everything. It's, hey, if you got a question, you ask somebody. If you need a part, you go ask somebody. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and then you get to the hotels and, you hang out and you crack beers and you drink and shoot, do stories for hours,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I like about race week stuff compared to drag week is the racing in the evening. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest, like we're going to go to that format in 2025. I didn't do it this year. I should have, but we're going to that format in 2025 for the circuit because it is so much fun. Like you're literally driving all day to get to the track. But what happens is exactly what you're saying. Everybody races till 11 at the track. They get back, they get their car switched over. It's midnight or 12:30 before you leave. You get to the hotel, you get checked in, and you're in the parking lot for 2 hours because you're still amped up. You're still, you've got all the adrenaline from racing. You've gotten back in the car. You've driven across town to get your hotel and all that kind of stuff now. That's one of the coolest feelings. And you sleep till 6 o'clock in the morning and you get up and you on the road,
Yeah.
So that's what I like about race week in relation to race times.
Well, and like Stoner Cipher, he just posted a little snippet and he's like, people, I got to pay people to take pictures of my car. And that guy, he's one of my favorite people because no matter where you go, he's always got a huge smile on his face and he's always happy to meet anybody, happy to talk to anybody. And he's always the first one to go on a beer run.
I love Stoney. I mean, one of my best friends, and is like a cool big brother to me. You know, he's the whole reason I'm into Drag and Drive to even begin with. And then, so of course, you know, he's my buddy, and him and I have been a part of the circuit, which used to be a streetcar shootout for 11 years. You know, so he's a big part of my car life. So it's pretty cool.
He's also the first one to go do a big burnout too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we'll do one right behind it. He don't care. He'll you didn't see it? I'll go do it again.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find? Where do you post the most? Where can people follow along, see all your stuff?
If I post anything, it's on my my Four Eyed Performance Facebook page, and I usually don't post that much. It's just, you know, if I got some new cool project or something else, I'll post on it. But it's just, you know, usually like I go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then 3:30 or 4 o'clock I'm out, and then I go work on other people's stuff, or I go work on my stuff, and you know, it's just, when do I have time?
Yeah, yep. We've lived that life. We understand completely. That's awesome. Well, I want to say thank you for hanging out tonight. I want to say thank you for telling the stories. And dude, we're gonna see each other in like a week and a half.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be
Thank
really
you for the
fun.
invite.
Yeah, for sure. I intend to have some kind of camera set up most of the weekend, obviously. And so obviously we would love to have you jump on at some point and tell some more stories while we're there. But then I hope this was enough of a tease for everybody that we'll do, you know, another episode, have several of you guys on at the same time and tell some really fun stories.
I do not need a repeat of last year when I left the track. So I made it almost 71. And then, I found out, hey, I've got 2 cracked pistons.
Yeah, we don't need that again. We don't need that again for sure. Dang. Well, stay with us. We'll be back on. We're gonna shut the show down in probably 6 or 8 minutes, and then we'll all jump on and talk land speed stuff.
Cool.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, dude. What a show, man.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Do you want to do the Found on Racing Junk? Did you have an opportunity to find that? I know you've been super busy the last
Oh
few
yeah.
weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's do it then.
Come on.
Come
got
on,
it.
you know him.
All
Lead us in, man.
right.
Tell us what's up.
right. So since everybody had trucks tonight, take a guess at what I looked for this week.
RVs.
I found some trucks. Can we see that?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I like it.
Yep. So the first one here, 98 Chevy full size drag truck, 25,000. Only one photo. This is in Ontario, Canada. It's a 98 C1500 with VIN. So obviously it can be titled. It is only a rolling chassis, but it's a full frame off restoration. Built chassis, back half, Fab 9-inch, 4-link. So here we go. We got
Fit a
30.
14-inch wide tire. Come on.
Yeah. Yep, can fit a 14-inch wide. Funny car cage, so you can, do some things with that right there. So I always like those full-size trucks too.
Yeah.
But for 25,000, you can drop in your engine and be good to go.
That's awesome.
Second one is a 98 S10 4-link truck for 30,000. Again, one photo here, but this is in Greenville, Tennessee. This is a dragger Pro Street truck, 4-length, 4-corner coilovers, disc brakes, weld wheels, all the good stuff there.
That's awesome. And that's in Greenville, Tennessee. So you could buy that and then come to the circuit. Somebody could do that. That's a distance they could make up.
Yep, absolutely. And the last one, this one's a beaut right here. 86 C10, 25 grand. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to drive that?
That's a good looking truck.
Yes, it is. I like this one quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this one is in Longview, Texas. It's a 86 C10, back half ladder bar suspension with coilovers, a strange 35 spline 9-inch with disc brakes, 10-point roll cage, all Lexan 540 cubic inch, Rare Morrison Super Series engine, turbo 400 with a trans brake, 33 by 16.5 slicks, air shifter, and an MSD 7 AL3.
Dude, That truck's ready to go for 25 grand. I
Yep.
feel like that's a deal. Like,
Yeah.
seems like a lot of truck for that kind of money. Maybe I'm just, this inflation's got me all out of whack, but I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good deal for a truck like that.
Yep. So as always, obviously Racing Junk is our buy sell trade partner for Drag Drive Repeat. We do not run a Facebook buy sell trade page. We don't want to deal with all that because as you can see, there's all kinds of cool things to look up on Racing Junk. Every time I go on there, I struggle to even figure out what I want to show each week.
Yeah, it's loaded with stuff, man. And the cool thing I think for drag and drive racers and Racing Junk is just the ability to search, really nail down where you're at and what you're looking for instead of, like sometimes marketplace can be a little sketchy with
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And this way, you're generally getting somebody that is committed to selling something.
Yep.
I will say that sometimes Facebook doesn't necessarily have that happen. Um,
Right.
all right, well, guys, last little bit here. I want to say thanks again for hanging out, dude. We're right at 2 hours. Thank you for being our race car friends. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the shares tonight. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for all the stuff that we've had go down tonight, all the questions and comments and all that. And can't do without you. I mean, we really can't. Our race car friends are probably one of the biggest reasons we just continue to do this because I'm telling you, it's hard sometimes as you're writing stuff at 1 a.m. and trying to get stuff ready, or
6:55.
work all day and then you come home and literally walk in the front door and sit down, don't eat dinner and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for being our race car friends. You make it worthwhile for us to do all this. And then of course, thank you to our sponsors. Without those guys, we wouldn't be at these events, man.
Yep.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil. Those guys, I can't wait to hang out with the Driven Racing Oil team. They are gone next week, but I'm trying to set up something early May for them to be on, and that may be one of our first after hours episodes where we have some adult beverages after the show is on. Car Change 3D. Corey's going to be down here next week. I'm excited to see him. Performer Built Transmission is going to be at Six Summer with us. Howard's Cams. We got to find a time to get to Luke B. Sweet Patina is going to be hanging out. Probably, I would imagine we can get them to come to the Ennis stop of Rocky Mountain Race Week. And then Racing Junk Classifieds, we've been talking to them. Lots of really neat stuff going to be coming down the pipeline for the Drag Drive Repeat and Racing Junk Classifieds partnership there. And of course, our newest media partner, PowerTube TV. You can find all this content over there, plus a bunch of exclusive stuff that's on there as well. And not just drag and drive stuff, but everything like Pink's All Out, Pink's Pastime. Dude, it's coming back. I'm excited about that. We can't make the official announcement on who's going to be the host yet, but you guys are going to enjoy it. And there's a lot of shows that are like what you're watching now over on the PowerTube app, which you can find on all of your smart TV apps or on your phone and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Yep. See you guys.
All righty.